Structure and process. Those are the words for today. How are you guys doing? Hope you had, for my friends in the U.S., hope you had a good President's Day weekend. I hope everybody's doing well. It's good to see you. I'm Bill DeWeese, the host of this channel, and my wife and I took a trip down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, the Great Smoky Mountains, near where my mom grew up. We met with some friends down there, and it's amazing how fast that place is growing. In a tough economy, when things are tight, prices are like double. At least it seems they're double what they were, 5 or 6 years ago. I cannot believe the number of people who pour in to a place like that and the money that is spent. It is mind-boggling to me. But we had a great time. Ate a lot of great food. Hung out with some old friends from our college days, which goes back a minute or two. So that was a lot of fun. And but I missed you guys. And thanks for being here this morning. It's good to be back. I heard something last week, and I wish I could remember where I heard it or who I heard say it so I could give them credit. I don't, but I remember what was said because it hit me like a ton of bricks. And it was this: structure and process beat willpower and enthusiasm. And if there was a line that encapsulated what my mission is as a voiceover coach, what I'm trying to do in working with people who are building voiceover careers, is to teach them that structure and process beat willpower and enthusiasm. How many people have you known throughout the course of your life who were highly enthusiastic people and they were always jumping on one train or another? Perhaps, they found the latest, greatest diet and they thought, it was the greatest thing ever, and they had to share it with everybody else. And this went on for maybe a period of days or weeks, and then all of a sudden they fell off. They fell off the diet wagon, and then kind of soured on the whole idea of that. And then they were off to the next thing, or maybe it's a business opportunity somebody was trying to introduce you to, and this is the greatest thing that's ever been. And a few weeks later, their willpower dies, and they're off to the next thing. That is a common cycle. Enthusiasm, and then bare knuckle, willpower. And that only lasts so long. And having been in the voiceover business, successfully as a full-time artist for 20 years, and for the past 15 years as a coach, one thing is I have observed that kind of thing over and over again in voiceover. Enthusiasm, willpower, I'm going to do this thing. And then poof, that person disappears. And it's not because they're bad people. And it's not because they don't have the ability to do something great in voiceover. It's they just don't understand that voiceover, the business, is won through structure and process and not willpower and enthusiasm. So let me talk a little bit about that and help you kind of frame this a little bit so you have a better understanding. And hopefully, my hope for you is that you'll take this and run with it and do something with it. Otherwise, I'm blowing hot air around, which is fine. I can do that, but I want you guys to take this information and to use it. And by the way, before I get into the particulars here, I want to say this. If you haven't signed up for my free voiceover community, it's a growing community of some wonderful people who would love to help support you in your journey. And you can, share your experiences. And it's a mutual uplifting and affirmative, and everybody's moving towards their goal and everybody's supporting everybody else. And I've put a link below in the description so that you can click that and become a part. We'd love to see you in there today. I've shared this story before, but it's such a watershed moment in my life. I always look at things before this time and after this time, because this 3-month period of my life changed my life for the best. It was the hardest thing I ever did, but it was the best thing I ever did. And that was coming out of my freshman year of college. I was recruited by a company called Southwest in Nashville. They're still around. And what they've been doing since the Civil War, going back to the 1800s, they have been selling they have a Bible division. They have a children's educational division. I think they have several other divisions. They have used college age. So it started off with soldiers after the war to help them be able to work and make money. They went door to door selling these books for Southwest. And they've continued to do that by recruiting college students to do it. Long story short, I sign up. They send me off to some place. They send you a long way away from your hometown and your friends and your family. Although because it's so hard, it'd be too tempting to go home if they hadn't done that. But what I learned while selling books door to door for 3 months, again, hardest job ever. And I compare everything to that. Everything's easy compared to that. Voiceover is a breeze. Everything's a breeze compared to that. But I learned that it wasn't about being a gifted salesperson because trust me when I say I wasn't, I've had some success in sales and marketing, but I don't credit to the fact I'm a good salesperson. I credit to the fact that I learned proper structures and processes to be able to get the result that I wanted. But what they taught us down there was that we kind of had to let go of everything that we thought or that we felt, or we were all excited going into this, but they said you're not going to feel this way for very long. And so what they did was something very important, and they taught us a process. And that process was very simple. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't easy to do, but it wasn't complicated. The process was every Monday through Saturday, we got up, but first of all, they gave us a sales pitch to memorize. So I knew exactly what to say, and they gave us responses. If somebody says this, then you can respond with this. If they say this, you can respond with this. So I didn't have to be brilliant to do this. All I had to do was memorize and work hard to memorize my script and my responses and everything that I needed to do. And then I needed to make sure that I followed the process of knocking on my first door at 8:30 a.m. and my last door at 9:30 p.m. 6 days a week. For those of you counting at home, that's 81 hours a week for 3 months straight. And it didn't take me very long to realize that I sucked at this. You get enough doors slammed in your face and people telling you to, you know, shove off, and you have the police called on you and you're taken down to the police station. All these things and more happened to me during my time doing this. But I stuck with the structure and the process. And when somebody said no, I simply picked up my stuff and I moved to the next door and I started over again. If somebody said no, which more times than yes, I mean, that happened. Way more people said no than said yes. But got to the door, I knocked, they answered, I said my spiel and I did my thing. Sometimes it was successful, many times it wasn't. But by doing the process over and over and over again, 81 hours a week over the course of that 3-month summer, I was one of their better producers. I was like a top tier producer that year, which is amazing when you take into account that I was an extremely bashful, shy kid that didn't have experience of this sort at all. I had no clue what I was doing, but I followed the structure, even when it wasn't fun, even when it wasn't exciting and glamorous. And believe me, it didn't take long for me to realize that I did not want to get my butt out of bed and do this. I did not want to go out and face the abuse that I faced every day, but I did want the money to go back to school. And that's what so I had a why. I had a reason to do that. And I found that by just repeating I didn't have to learn a new process for every door I knocked on. It was the same one every time. So just by knowing that the simple presentation and being willing to do it, and that's the big one. I can teach all day long what to do, but unless you follow the process, you get frustrated and you run out of willpower, you run out of enthusiasm. And building anything worthwhile, takes this kind of determination and going back at it again and back at it again and back at it again. Something I read back in during that time. Of course, we were always, reading stuff to help us better understand what we were doing and to motivate us and all of this kind of thing. But there was a book I read about a story about it, and a guy he was an insurance salesman, true story, and he was the least talented guy in the group of salespeople for the office that he worked with, and it was well known. There were people far more clever and savvy and smooth and good at what they did. They closed more people, uh, per presentation given. They did way better than this guy. But what this gentleman understood was that structure and process not only beat willpower and enthusiasm, but it beat talent. And so what he did is he did the things that other people did not consistently do. The process for his line of work was cold calling, just calling to make appointments. And while Other salespeople in the office would find distractions and other things to do or take off early or take long lunches. He just kept calling and kept calling. And even though he was, in terms of gifted and talented, he was the least so in the office. But he hit his numbers every month and every week because he did the stuff he was supposed to do, and he consistently outsold everybody in his office. Again, the moral of the story being it's not about how exceptionally gifted and talented you are. It's not, how excited you are about this. It's, are you willing to follow the structure and the process? And if you're wanting to be successful in voiceover, let me suggest that you go below in the description, click the link to the community, get in my community, because I just uploaded a video so that you can see it. It doesn't cost you anything. It's available to anybody in the community. You can see it today if you want to. I made a video last week showing the first step in this process, which is how to find a prospective client, how to reach out to them and communicate with them. And I do it, and I recorded it, and I show you guys to demystify it. What I do is not complicated. It does not require a PhD in anything. It requires no academic special education. It does require you learning the process, though. It's not just enough to have a website. You need a website. It's not just enough to have a great demo, and you need a great demo. But then that's just the product side of things. Then you have to learn how to sell it. And that's what I want to help you do. So click the link below, get in the group today, and let's get this process going. And we've got some folks in our live chat that are doing it right now. A good number of you guys are in the group, and I appreciate that. What's going on, John in Denver? Hello to you. Hey, Joe in the UK. Good to see you as always. Joe encouraging everybody to tap that like button. To tap it like you're playing Daly's Decathlon on the Commodore 64. No, I know that's a reference to a very old computer. I assume that's an old computer game. I'm not familiar with that, but tap the button like that. Like Joe says, and I'm sure we're all going to be good. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Hey, what's going on in Grand Haven? Ron. We've got Sheila in Chicago. Cindy from Middle Tennessee. Good to see you, Cindy. We've got GS in Longview. Sandra in London, Ontario. Jim in Memphis. Corey in Wisconsin. We've got Galen checking in from Chicago. We're neighbors again. Very glad to see you back live streaming. Great way to start the day. Thanks, Galen. I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm glad you're here too. It's good to see you again. Hey, Jim, my brother did this in the late 60s. Yeah, men and women have been doing this for well over 100 years. The book thing, it's pretty crazy. It's not the kind of thing I want my kids to do because I wouldn't be able to sleep. But I'm really glad I did it because it really helped me understand, again, structure and process. Structure and process win every time. Talent will fail you. Your education is not going to get you to the finish line, but having structure, process, and the willingness just to follow that makes the difference. Big time. Cindy, hit the like and listen. Thank you, Cindy. And then we've got Patty in Tucson, Patty Tusson from St. Augustine, Florida. What a lovely city. It's been a few years since I've been there, but beautiful, beautiful down there. Guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I'm going to be looking for you today in my free voiceover community. Again, it doesn't cost you anything. At the very least, go in and check out the video that I'm talking about so you can watch, listen, and learn the first major link in this process so that you can begin just to duplicate what I do. And if you follow it, you're going to see success. Guys, have a great day. Thanks for being here. Take care.